Hello again, it's Paul here from the Citizens Assembly Working Group, and this particular video is about the different deliberation approaches from simple to advanced that you can pick up and run with if you want to get people talking and get deliberating. So any discussion aids connection and inclusion, and that's exactly what we're looking to facilitate. And what's great about what's happening with XR is that there's loads and loads of people who already do these types of things coming forward and saying, look, if you want to use our material, just go for it. And we can just help you and help everybody get deliberative democracy going on the streets. So what we're looking to do is to cultivate a lot more what we call many-to-many conversations, as opposed to the traditional one-to-many conversation you might see at a traditional event. There is quite a big pull towards that kind of thing, to the standard question and answer session, where you'll have a speaker or a panel, and the only interaction you're going to get is by asking a question if you're lucky. What we're looking to do really is to empower and engage everybody, and that means getting these conversations going. And it also questions the assertion that the experts will save us. It's us that are going to need to be empowered to step up and deal with what needs to be done. So this is just an introduction of the kind of things that you can do, and the first easiest one to do is basically at any meeting just get a pairs discussion going. So present some information and then ask a question maybe, and get people to pair up and just have a conversation. Gets people thinking, talking and listening, and you don't even have to feed that back. As long as that conversation's happening, it's doing a good job. So that's one of the easiest things you can do in any meeting, and I really encourage you to do that in all of the meetings, at least at some point. Another option is a very simple process called Talkshop, and they use cards. There's an example of a pack right here. We've got lots of these. This one's about citizens' income. And the way this works is you get into groups of 6, the card tells you exactly what to do, and there's information about what you need to discuss on the cards, and you distribute those. There's questions, and there's a place to give feedback, and they're sent back to the organisation to process. It does require printing the cards or receiving them in the post, but that's one of the little hurdles to overcome to get this one particularly going. Okay, so that's one offering. The flagship approach that XR have been using to date is the People's Assembly, and there's a People's Assembly manual on the XR website. Just be clear that this is not a citizens' assembly. This is where people just show up. So that's one way of remembering. People's Assembly, people just show up. Citizens' Assembly is sortition, which is random selection, and it's a much bigger event. Come on to that in a minute. Essentially, People's Assembly are in 3 parts. There's an input part, so you've got something to talk about, you've got some information, it's an informed conversation. The second part is the deliberation in groups of 6 to 8, and then there's a feedback where each group, one of the group members comes forward and shares with the rest of the whole assembly what you've concluded with those discussions. Okay, so that's these are the kind of the entry-level ones. They're relatively straightforward to do. Another offering is Thinking Box. This requires audio-visual, so you watch videos, you have discussion questions, you have small group and then plenary discussions, sometimes a survey, but there's lots of programs there. You can download those and run those. You do need that kit though. Another new one is from the Alternative UK. Hopefully we can get some more information about Citizens Action Networks. This is another level above all the ones that come before. So very much detailed community connection technology. It's quite an involved process. One of the things they use is something called collaboratives, where you have a process of meeting people, engaging in an inquiry, and then taking some action together. So it's very powerful, very successful, and that's something that we hopefully could offer to you relatively soon. So particularly very valuable in terms of reaching out to all, especially those seldom included, which is exactly what XR is trying to do with that radical inclusivity. Okay, and then the final one, and this one is not one that you would really be doing yourself. This is something you need to hand over to the professionals. There's various organizations that run citizens' assemblies. It's the kind of the creme de la creme of deliberation, really. You can deal with very complex issues. It's a very detailed process. It costs. It's run by professionals, as I've said, and they typically run locally or more commonly nationally. And as I said before, the participants are randomly selected through what's called sortition. Okay, lots of information about all of these things online, but we'll be feeding some information about them to you so that you can pick up and run all of these, well, apart from the citizens' assemblies, if you choose to.